Everybody,
Good morning.
this will be the Commissioners Court on, what is today? Today
April
is
8th.
April the 8th, 2025. Let's all rise for the invocation, please. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the recent rain that we have. Lord, we ask you for even more, if you can give it to us. We appreciate that all that you've given us so far, Lord. We thank you and ask you for wisdom and strength as we go about the business of the citizens of Brewster County. Thank you for all you provide in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. All right, good morning, everyone. Let's do the number 4, review and discuss action on the minutes of March 25th.
We accept it as presented.
All
I'll
right.
second.
A motion by Commissioner Morrow, second by Commissioner Colondo. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay. Jenny, you got that? So just for commissioners, we're trying something new today. The Civic Plus thing that we had has really got, like every other software program does, about 27,000 other things that we are now learning. So we're able to now, she's able to record the votes so that when we go back 2 years from now and go, well, how we voted on that.
You know exactly who voted.
You know, how we voted and whether it was approved, tabled, or fancy stuff. It's kind of like an Excel spreadsheet, you know. Excel does about 10,000 more things than most of us use.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do public comments, number 5. Any public comments this morning? All right, number 6, report from the city of Alpine.
Good morning, and thank you. Yeah, it was great to get some rain and snow here this last week.
Yeah.
I have 5 items on from a city perspective. The first is I shared with you last time we were having a discussion about purchasing a zipper. We had done a demo. City council reviewed that the last meeting. Instead of going for a 4-foot wide zipper, we're looking to purchase a 6-foot wide zipper, will allow us greater capacity. That will be up for the city council meeting next Tuesday. I expect it will be approved. That gives us significant capacity to be able to grind up the road, smooth it back out, and then go back and do some sealing. And then I'll sort out with what our plan is for that 3-foot zipper that we have right now, because clearly the city will want to go out and sell that. The second thing we had is a discussion. We approved the first reading. There's 2 readings of each ordinance on an update to the alcohol ordinance for the city of Alpine. And a lot of discussion about alcohol and approvals, but essentially it says that it gives the city secretary the authority to sign off on the TABC approval, except where there's commercial property next to a residential property, and that will still require city council approval.
How does that play for like the Spirits of the West Festival? It doesn't.
That's a non-issue. No, that's because that's a not-for-profit going out for a 1-day permit. It's a non-issue.
Okay.
So no problems there. But, we had the big discussion about the Legion, which is next to residential. So that was a huge discussion, particularly since they wanted to extend their hours up till 2:00 in the morning. And the concern was, noise to the residents because of the residential property that's right next door. So we formalized that and got some consistency across the city. Item number 3 I had is we did approve, since we don't have a building inspector for the city, Robert Rooks resigned and went back to work for Plumco, and he will actually represent Ward 3 for city council come May. We don't have a building inspector, and city council approved Jessica Isley as the new building official for the city. We're still using outside resources for the formal inspections, which requires actually permitting capabilities, but we're back on track in terms of being able to meet the city requirements. Number 4, we had a utilities director that was coming on board. He backed away because of medical reasons, went back home. So Megan Antrim is picking up the responsibilities of Utilities Director right now, and Johnny Marquez is going back to managing water. If anyone knows who would like to be Utilities Director for the city of Alpine, we're all ears. We have been struggling to get someone here. Salary wise, it's in the $80,000 a year range, so it's not a bad salary. But getting someone attracted to Alpine is in fact a challenge. Last thing is I heard this morning, so I don't have much detail. My understanding is Bill Ivy did in fact accept an offer for the property. You see the wall coming down on Holland,
Yeah.
and I'll find out more information on that and get back to you on it.
Oh, I didn't bother, the wall's coming down.
Yeah.
Wall's coming down, yeah. Yep, it's coming down as of this morning.
So no word on who bought it or what they're
Don't
gonna
know
do
who
with
bought
it?
it, don't know what the intention is, so
Mhm.
I'm diving in to go get more information on that. Okay.
Rick, not to surprise you with this, this just is something, observation. We continue to struggle in the county with stray animals. And I don't know, it's something I'd like to have a conversation with the city about maybe at some point, how do we, to me, it makes no sense to have two shelters, obviously. But we've got issues down in South County now as that population has grown and so has Marathon. And so wanted to see if you guys might entertain a discussion about capacity, how can we contribute to that?
Yep, yep.
You know, can we joint venture? You guys, I'm sure will always welcome funding at the animal shelter or whatever, but
Yeah, I'm
I think
sure.
we're gonna have to come deal with that at some point.
Yeah, that certainly makes sense. We approved in council a new crematorium for the animals that pass because if somebody goes on. And it's a service we provide. It's actually some revenue that comes out of that as well. But I think this is a great example, Judge, where there's an opportunity to collaborate, work together and combine our resources in a way that makes sense.
Yeah, we had a recent incident where we had some mom dog and some strays that needed to come up from Terlingwood. You guys were full, didn't have a place to put them.
Yep.
And so there's just, I think that's going to continue to haunt us.
I agree. It's going to continue to be an issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else, Mr. Stevens? All right.
Great. Thanks very much.
Appreciate it. All right, number 7, recognitions and announcements. I've got a couple of things.
Me too.
Oh, okay, good. I'll start out with, I want to introduce to everybody Melissa Bergstrom. You probably already know Melissa. Just stand up for a second. Melissa is our new elections administrator, will become our new elections administrator effective May 5th, I think, when Laura leaves to go off to Lubbock. So we want to welcome you you're already here. It's not like you just arrived, but you've been working here, but welcome to the position. And anything you want to tell us about what's happening in elections?
Well, we've got the city election coming up on May 3rd.
Okay,
So we've just been nose deep in a lot of training.
okay, very good.
Yeah, just really get started a little bit stuff.
Okay, and we're charging the city double this year. That's a joke.
Judge, we did go forward for this legislative session to see if we can get our elections moved from May to November. I'm hopeful that will pass with the session of here in Eastman. So far, I know there's a hearing supposed to be early next week, which will allow it to go from full floor to everywhere.
Did the school cancel theirs?
School cancel theirs, Mohitas cancel theirs. So it's just city board line.
Okay. Well, welcome aboard. All right, number 2 I have is, I guess I've been told, so we're having an Easter egg decorating contest. Remember the jack-o'-lanterns we did back in Halloween? So this is, every department has a chance to take an egg and convert it to.
We did Christmas ornaments too.
We did Christmas ornaments. Jenny and Leah have gone wild in my office, but anyway, so tell me.
It's just a fun activity for them.
It's a fun activity, yeah. Is there a prize for the best? Not contest, okay. Anyway, I think it's a great idea, so.
Bragging rights.
When they brought it to me last year with, what was the first one we did? Was that?
The jack-o'-lantern.
I thought, that's never gonna go over. Well, we had a lot of contestants. So it's, and then the Christmas decorations went well. So now we're on Easter. So, okay. Mr. Hendricks, you got something for us?
Yes. I'm not on the agenda. I'll come back next month and give y'all my full spiel about everything been going on over the winter, pretty much just stock shows. I'm here to talk about our water well testing program. Later this month, April 21st, we're going to be collecting water well samples. The groundwater district has agreed to pay for everybody in Brewster County, again, who wants to test their private water well. We'll collect them at the extension office or here at the groundwater district office. We'll run the samples out there. That's on the 21st. And then the 22nd, we're going to have a results and interpretation meeting, cover a little bit about water well safety, but then we're also going to have a rainwater harvesting session too that we're incorporating. So I've seen that one before. It's really good. Right now we have it lined up for the Val Beard building. We might have a venue change. If so, I'll get all that out appropriately, but right now it's scheduled for there. So anybody who wants, it should be on the radio, in the paper. We're going to have some advertisements around town. I think y'all all probably got an email with the flyer. I could resend it, but just as long as we can broadcast that information. Like I said, we're working with the groundwater district, and I'm also working with Presidio County and Jeff Davis County, trying to get as many wells tested as we can. So if anybody has any questions, and they can pick up their samples anytime between now and the 21st, and then we just get them back that morning. So we've had a lot of success. The last 2 times we've done this, we've had almost as many samples as Ector in Midland County.
So you said anytime between now and the 21st, you can drop off a sample?
They can pick up the sample
Pick up-
kit, but then
pick
they
up
need
the
to
kit,
bring
okay.
it, yes, and then they need to bring it back the morning of the 21st. And if they need to take it ahead of time, they can. Within 24 hours is best, and it needs to be refrigerated, but it's really best if they can sample it that morning and then go ahead and bring it. But sometimes for some people who are coming from farther away, they have to take it the night before. So
Is it tested right there on site, or is that shipped off somewhere?
no, they bring all the equipment and they set it up there in that room, outside my office, that activity room deal. And we run the test right there. It's kind of messy, so that's why we do that. And then we have the educational session somewhere else. So
What are you testing for?
E. coli, salinity, nitrates, arsenic, fecal coliform, all those kind of things. So arsenic really isn't as big of a deal here, but Presidio County, especially in the southern part, they've had some issues with arsenic over the years. So I know that they test for that pretty heavily in those samples. So
Are you advertising on the radio?
yes, I sent it to Martin and I need to call him back. He said we had a press release and he said he was going to run it through there as a news story. And then I need to talk to him about getting it as a full-on advertisement. But
And then lastly, we could redact the personal information, but is there any benefit? Is there a database that's built from all this?
I'm sure,
Just look at data over a period of time of the wells in Brewster County.
I'd have to ask those guys, Joel and John, the guys who come out, they work with Texas Well Owner Network, and I'm sure they do. And I know that like in the past, the groundwater districts worked with them about like some of the data that comes out of it. The questionnaire that we used to use with it too, there's a paper, we shortened it up a lot because used to people were kind of naturally, when they turned it in, it had a lot of questions that they wanted to know about your well to gain some of that, but people were pretty hesitant about filling some of that stuff out. So now it's just like a lot of the basic things that would help identify, like, if your well does come back hot for something, trying to figure out why. So a lot of the times we have some right here around town that are high in nitrates. Last time we did have a couple that tested for E. coli. So anyway, it's a good thing to do, especially, when water tables get low and stuff to test, what's going on. So anyway, and I'll come back next month. But one thing I do want to note on the youth side while I'm here, last week at Sol Ross, we had our spring ag day contest. And so we extension partnered with Sol Ross to expand those contests. We had horse judging, several others. We had like 160-ish kids from the area come out, 4-H and FFA. There was like 70 something 4-H kids. And then, the remainder were, and we had kids coming from Cuero. I mean, they were coming from all over the state. And our Brewster County horse judging team, the junior team, they're all, 3rd through 5th graders, were 5th overall. So they beat a bunch of high school teams from across the state. So really want to say good job to them. So,
Very good.
all righty. Well, if y'all have any questions, let me know. And if anybody has any questions about this, they can contact me. I'm just trying to get the word out there.
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is your favorite book?
My favorite book?
Yes.
Oh, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Yeah. Good question.
Was it a Bible?
Oh, well, yeah. Not running for office yet, so.
Luke, I have another question. Since all of our water is well water, the city water included, do they show the city numbers versus the private wells to see like a reference point of how the treated city water holds up to individual,
Hole in the ground.
Right.
hole in the ground?
And we can, I think maybe the time before last, we tested some of the wells, but they want you to test it at the source closest to the wellhead as possible. Because once you start testing it, like if you're testing your tap water, there's a lot of stuff, in between in that system that can be, that can show up. And then also once it's, chlorine treated or whatever, that kind of skews some of the results. So like if we wanted to test any of those major wells, we'd have to get right out there to the source and test them as close to the wellhead as possible. A lot of times there's a spigot, right there. So we try to tell people, not to come test their tap water. If they're on city water, you don't want to come just test your tap water in your house. That's not what it's geared towards. So.
But I mean, it's still the water you're drinking. I mean, I'm just curious if the
Right.
city's doing an effective job giving us treated water as opposed to just, like you said, a hole in the ground.
Yeah, right. And that's something I could ask, but I know in the past, like we've tried to make it pretty clear to, that we're trying to test water wells and instead of just like, basic tap water. So I'm sure they could test for some stuff, but like I said, once they treat it, I know that, affects the testing process. And then, like I said, there's a lot of, pipes in people's houses and things that could be, we did test some like groundwater springs the last time. There were some people who had some naturally occurring springs and they asked if we could test those and we did. And that water was some of the best water that tested out of everything. So, just straight out of the ground for what it's worth. So,
Okay.
I mean, they're open to experiment.
David, you have something?
Yeah, we do have to comply with TCEQ requirements and any wells that feed over 10 properties have to meet the TEC requirements. So they pretty well regulate us, and we send a report out once a year on the water and all the requirements across the city.
Right.
All right.
All righty. April 21st is the sample collection date or sample drop off date. That's when they'll bring them in. We'll run the tests. And then the next day, from 8:30, 8 o'clock at the Val Beard Building is the results and the well, safety program. Brewster County Groundwater District's going to give some updates. And then we're also going to have a rainwater harvesting program. So like I said, the last time they did that one, it's been about 4 or 5 years ago out here. They brought a lot of really, really good resources for people who are interested in putting in a rainwater collection system. So, yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank y'all.
Appreciate you. Okay. Commissioner Calondo, you have something?
Yes, I just wanted to recognize the Brewster County Road and Bridge team as well as the facilities crew who came out and helped with dump day on Saturday. It was a very long, very hard day. The line started at 8:30 in the morning and it didn't clear out until 2:30 in the afternoon. So we were on our feet taking trash out of trucks all day long without any breaks. And we also got rained on. It was cold and rainy, which is a first for me ever. Blew my mind. So, I mean, I just wanted to recognize everybody who did that hard work. We really, really appreciate it so much.
So we cleaned a lot of junk.
Oh, my Lord. It was the most attended dump day I have ever done. And I've been in office for 6 years and I've been doing this as a volunteer for 7 years. And yeah, I've never seen that many people lined up. I think it also helped that Wright Hardware now rents trailers. So I saw a lot of U-Haul trailers.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your leadership on that. Good.
All that work, you need to talk to your union rep.
Yes, I was the lowest paid employee out there.
Okay, anything else on recognitions and announcements? Any other commissioner?
No, sir.
Okay, moving on to number 8. County Judge Report, discuss and take action to approve a $2,500 donation from Judge Val Beard for the dedicated purposes of constructing a new gazebo. I was wondering why you asked me that question.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of discussion about the gazebo. And so the gazebo, the one we have now is actually not in its historical location. We were not the original gazebo, per some maps that we found, was actually located sort of where the cannon was. And the gazebo that we have now is got a lot of dry rot. There's the gazebo now either needs to be completely renovated or frankly torn down. I guess one of the issues is, I guess you put a new roof on it
Yeah,
in 2020
yeah, 5 years old.
at some expense, and unfortunately the roof won't transfer to the new gazebo. Having said that, Judge Beard wrote us a check for $2,500 as sort of a kickstart for private money to build the new gazebo. And just need approval to accept that gift into the county.
Need a motion?
I do.
Well, I move we accept Judge Beard's generous donation for the gazebo.
I'll second.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion? We're getting plans drawn for the new gazebo. And so we're a ways off. It's not gonna have to be tomorrow, but
We had received we still got a motion hanging out there.
yeah, well, we're in discussion.
Okay, we had received a quote for doing it out of metal instead of wood.
Yeah, I think we're going back to wood.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And I think we're probably Johnny probably will be the one building it,
All right.
since he's a good carpenter. We'll wait to see what the plans look like. The idea would be to build a new one and then tear the old one down so that, you know, folks know that we're replacing. I mean, the goal is to replace it. It's very popular. The gazebo is not real ADA friendly, the one we have now, because it's got steps. So we'll make the new one a little more ADA friendly, and then, you know, we do a lot of weddings in that gazebo. That's really what it's
I'm
used
gonna
for.
bring, I think I mentioned this before, we were redoing the lawn. Do we want to think about putting a time capsule under it before we build it?
I like that idea. Yeah. I wonder if there's one out there already.
I don't know, how old is it?
Yeah, yeah, so, okay, all right, motion is second. If there's no further discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Where is the cannon? What's the status?
The cannon is sitting in our road and bridge yard.
Still there?
It's been repainted. Now we've got to find a way, so you cannot find, I always get it confused, you cannot find the tires for that. So we did figure out a way, we just hadn't done it yet, to put a regular tire on it that you can buy anywhere, but it's gonna involve doing some welding of the rim. I'll explain it to you later, because it's,
No,
but yes, the cannon is still there and will be probably brought back when the gazebo gets built. Yeah. And with a new sign that's actually accurate about the cannon. I don't know if you ever knew the sign we had out there it was the wrong cannon.
It didn't land at the beach of Anzio.
Well, it did a lot of things, but it was not the cannon that it said it was. It was a
Yeah,
cannon.
And it's a signal cannon, not a artillery cannon, apparently.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, it's actually an anti-tank weapon that was deployed in Europe. They still bought a 105mm howitzer. I know an artillery officer. And so it's an anti-tank weapon, but they stopped using it because they got killed in the process when the tanks started shooting back. But it is an anti-tank weapon.
It wasn't a real popular cannon, but the men didn't like it, is what I
As long as
understood.
they didn't kill all the tanks.
Yeah. All right, so that's the story on the cannon. All right, let's do number 9 project list. So last court, we approved a few things off of what I call the ARPA, non-ARPA project list. Item B is in Bravo. We approved last court to replace the windows at the Red Patilla Center in Terlingua with double pane glass. I think everybody was unanimous on that. The quote was a little old, so the quote went from 13.2 to 13.8. I just need approved to increase the amount by $600.
I move that we increase the amount as presented, excuse me.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, item C is in Charlie. So when we did our first round of cybersecurity upgrades, and that's going very well, by the way, there were a couple of places where the guys that came in, Monty Queener and Sean, they got to a particular switch and it was out of date, out of life or end of life.
End of service.
And so I said, just fix it because we need to get the moat and the fence around the fort built properly. And so they did. This is a little bit additional money for the cybersecurity upgrades. It's a $2,000 to pay for those switches that we bought when we did the upgrade. And that's coming out of line item 23 on the project list. This was from months ago when they were here helping us.
So there's there's an invoice and an estimate. One is for, I just looked at the network switches.
Yeah, so
What's the other
D is the
one?
next one. That is, there are still some network switches that need to be upgraded.
Okay, so they're both network switches. One is already done and one is we're about to do.
That's correct.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
I just,
That's why I was
I had
confused.
two different quotes, so I kept them separate.
Yes, I understand now.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So item C, I'd make a motion that we fund $2,082.08 to pay for the switches that were installed while they were here.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And then now we've got a few more switches to put in that are end of life now. And when I say end of life, they're not supported by the manufacturer anymore. All of our switches now are able to be monitored remotely. So if someone walks over here to the wall and tries to plug in, say Mr. Stevens tries to plug his laptop in there, it won't accept it anymore. It goes through our network and it says somebody's trying to plug in. So we need to make sure all those switches are in place. So I make a motion that we approve $3,000 for the purchase of new switches.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, number 10, discuss and take action regarding, we don't really have to have a resolution, as I found out, but for those of you who don't know, there's we buy our power from public pool. It's a state, organized entity that goes out and purchases and negotiates our rates for power. We've been under a 3-year contract for power that's going to end this year. And so they work a year in advance pretty much. So they're now negotiating contracts for 2026 and 2027. I put a presentation. I won't bore you with all the details, but a couple of things that are happening in the power world. So the spread between natural gas and electric power is pretty high. It's traditionally not been that. They think it's going to narrow. Texas is, a booming state. So demand for power is pretty high. And so power rates are up across the state for a number of reasons. And so we probably will expect to pay more per kilowatt hour. We're paying about 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour right now. We'll probably be looking at somewhere around 6 cents in 26, 27. These guys have done a good job of going out and buying this power for us and negotiating. They negotiate with the suppliers, and the suppliers are multitude of people. This entity is a government entity, so it's not a for-profit. It's not a broker that's trying to make a buck. Their job really is to obtain power for municipalities and counties and other government entities at the cheapest possible rate. So what we really need is just sort of a vote to say we want to continue to use the power pool to negotiate our rate. We'll come back in when we know. Nothing's done yet. They're still out there, but we just need to just ratify that we want to continue using them.
Yeah. So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
Motion and a second to continue using public power pool as our negotiator for power in Brewster County. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank y'all. All right, number 11, discuss and take possible action to authorize the county treasurer to renew the county bank's depository accounts for it's a misspelling until June 30th, 2027. So currently all of our depository accounts, with the exception of a few, are at Trans-Pecos Bank. We do have the ability to renew for 2 years our contract before we put it back out to the public. Given that we're converting an enormous accounting system to a new system and all of the issues that we've had on the accounting side, I think the consensus between Melinda, Julie, and myself is that we ought to leave it alone for right now and not be out there changing bank accounts. So unless anybody has a problem with it, I'd like to make a motion that we renew our depository accounts for two more years until 27. And then, I mean, I guess if we got to next year and we wanted to do it early, we could, couldn't we? Would we be locked into that 2 years?
I think so, sir, unless, I think it might be a for cause, maybe,
Mhm.
but otherwise I think you're locked down.
I mean, we've been struggling a little bit with TransPay because they converted to a new system themselves at the first of the year. And we're still kind of trying to wrangle
Been
that
some
to the
bumps.
ground. In some ways, it's been sort of frustrating for the finance department, but right now changing bank accounts would just be over the top. I know two people that probably go into the insane asylum.
I'll second the motion.
All right, motion and a second to stay with TransPecus for the next couple of years. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, number 12, discuss and take action regarding the 25 Brewster County property valuations for insurance purposes. This is really more for you guys to know. I got a little lesson on how the county does its property insurance because we are facing some increased premiums this year. Property and casualty across the country is rising for obvious reasons because the insurers are taking large hits in disaster areas and everybody's going to end up paying for it. But apparently, and you guys may know this, I didn't realize this. In the private sector, whenever I insured my resort, I always had to, every year kind of decide what the values were on my own. And if I didn't negotiate new values with the insurance company, they would just sit there. And I could find myself undervalued. Well, at the county level, as part of us being part of the TAC, Texas Association of Counties, every 2 years, we actually get all of our properties appraised. And so they send an appraisal actually physically out to take photos and look at the property. And that appraiser upgrades the value accordingly based on current market conditions. All of our buildings are at replacement cost, with exception of 2 buildings. So everything is at replacement cost. So that appraiser basically says, okay, if we had to rebuild, let's just say.
The courthouse for $9 million.
Well, maybe the courthouse, because that's a different one, but let's say to rebuild the annex, this one, the one we're in now. This is now the current value of that to replace it. They also upgrade any of the contents and any site improvements that we've made. So I started going through it, originally got it and said, well, that seems a little undervalued. And I started kind of wild guessing what I thought it would be worth, but then I realized it's already been appraised and it seems to meet current market values. Now, the exceptions is the historic courthouse. And interestingly enough, the building, the old jail.
Historic as well.
And it's historic, and the building over in Marathon.
Study club.
Yeah, it's where the museum was gonna be, or is gonna be, right next to the library. Those are under historical value, which basically, we pay a little bit more for that. But under historical cost, the insurance company is required to rebuild exactly as it was built originally in 1888. Now, obviously, there's some things you probably can't get anymore. So they have to use, for example, if they use Italian marble in the original building, they have to use Italian marble in the replacement building. Whereas if this building burned, the annex, we would just rebuild a stick construction. So we do insure the courthouse and the old jail and that building in Marathon at historical values. Now, we don't have to do that, but I can tell you that if the courthouse were to burn, most folks would want to restore it to. I mean, I guess we could just put up a metal building in the garage door, call it the courthouse, but
Go
I
Frank
don't
Gehry.
think it would go over well. So those are our exceptions. Anyway, long story short, we expect premiums. We do not have our premium yet. We're going to get that here shortly. Julie and I just signed the paperwork to send in
What was it last year? Good.
I don't remember, but we're expecting almost a 20% increase in property casualty rates this year. Yeah. I can't remember what it is, Mo. In fact, it's weird because all of our insurance comes due at one time except property casualty.
It's July to July.
And it's July to July. Yeah. I don't remember what it was. Where is 17,000? I know that I've seen the number, but honestly, I don't remember. Good question.
Where did the appraiser come from? The insurance company picks it up?
The insurance company, the TAC picks the appraiser.
Oh, okay.
And I have a copy of the appraisal in my office, if anybody wants to see it. I looked at it this weekend. It's pretty thorough. Did a nice job. And anything that's updated. One of the things, Melissa, I noticed in the appraisal, though, where are your voting machines stored right now?
They're in on our first closet. So that first one closet
Okay,
is on GS. And then in the back second closet is our express book.
okay, yeah, when the appraiser was here, they noted that the voting machines were stored here in the courthouse. And so I need to change that, but that we'll be coming up for another appraisal here this year. And at the end of this year, we'll get another one to update the values again. So just wanted y'all to be aware of how that works. It's pretty interesting. I'm very pleased that we're staying on top of our evaluation. So the last thing we need to be is, because that's what I called them about. I said, look, I don't want to have something burned down and then we're short $2 million. We want to make sure that we're covered to replace whatever's there. Yeah.
Quick question, which two buildings, this is for something I'm working on, that are not at replacement cost?
Historic cost is the old courthouse. Not this building, but the main courthouse
Right,
and the old jail, sheriff's office.
right.
And then the third one is the Marathon Museum, what I call
Those are
it.
the ones you were referring to that are not at replacement.
Those are all the historic costs.
Okay.
Those would have to be.
Higher, right?
Which is higher.
Is the tax office not this one?
It could be, but we've chosen not to do that. That building was built in 37. If the post
All
office,
insulation on the wiring?
yeah, it's
It's not
it's
enclosed.
solid concrete and brick. I don't know what would burn other than the inside, but we've got that one. Yeah, yeah.
CC building probably.
I think that was replaced at right at $4 million if we had to replace it. It seemed like it was 3.7, something like that. So we don't really have to take any action on number 12. I just wanted you guys to be aware,
Okay.
just in case you had an issue with anything or wanted to change something. I don't see us needing to change anything that's in there. But the only thing that might be a little bit wonky is I noticed that they've got a couple of the containers, like down in Terlingua, they've got the fire container insurance.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's not much, it's like valued at $1,500, so it's not worth
Even-
chasing, but still, I mean, if we lost a container, I don't think.
Isn't that its job though?
Yeah.
All right, moving on to number 13. Review and take action to approve a resolution to support rural EMS funding by the state of Texas. There is a bill pending in the House. It looks like it's gaining traction in the Senate and the House to provide, remember the SB 22 money we get for the sheriff? Well, the EMS, first responder community has kind of glommed onto that and is proposing a bill to fund rural counties with populations of our size up to $300,000 per year to help largely fund the cost of equipment and ambulances. If you've priced an ambulance lately, an ambulance with a truck front, smooth $350,000, you just barely have a basic ambulance. A lot of EMS agencies are struggling with the capital cost of that. So I think it's something, it's tricky when the state starts handing stuff out. How long will they hand it out and what are the strings?
Mhm.
But I think in general, we would support anything that the state might want to do to help rural EMS. So I'm proposing that we support this resolution and send it on to TAC with our support.
Do we need to read the resolution into the record?
We can do that, yes. It's a long-winded thing.
Is
though.
it? Well, looked like it was only one page.
Let me see if I can find it. Do you have it in front of you?
I do.
Why don't you
Okay.
read it?
A resolution of the Commissioners Court of Brewster County, Texas, in support of Senate Bill 1377 and House Bill 3000 to provide critical funding for rural emergency services. Whereas rural emergency medical services, EMS, play a vital role in protecting the health and safety of residents in Brewster County and across the state of Texas. And whereas rural EMS agencies face significant financial challenges in maintaining operations, replacing aging equipment, upgrading technology, and ensuring adequate staffing to meet the growing demands of emergency response. And whereas Senate Bill 1377 and House Bill 3000 seek to allocate additional state funding to rural EMS agencies for capital assets such as ambulances, personnel, and other cost of readiness as prescribed by the legislature. And whereas investing in rural EMS infrastructure will improve response times, enhance patient care, and ensure that residents in rural areas receive timely and effective emergency medical services. And whereas the Commissioners Court of Brewster County recognizes the importance of supporting legislation that strengthens rural EMS and provides financial resources to sustain these essential services. Now therefore be it resolved that the Commissioners Court of Brewster County, Texas hereby expresses its full support for Senate Bill 1377 and House Bill 3000 and urges the Texas legislature to pass this critical legislation to provide much needed funding for rural EMS agencies across the state. Be it further resolved that copies of this resolution be forwarded to the Governor of Texas, the Lieutenant Governor, the Speaker of the House, and the elected representatives of Brewster County in the Texas legislature, urging their support and swift passage of these bills. I move to approve the resolution as read.
Motion and a second discussion. All right, no further discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we'll sign it and get it back to TAC. Thank you. Number 14 is discuss and take action regarding a lease agreement for a replacement copier at the Brewster County Sheriff's Office. The Sheriff's Office has had a copier. This is a replacement copier for them. New technology. The old one was just worn out. We've done one at the jail, and now this is one at the Sheriff's Office. The monthly payment is $143.38 for the lease, and it's a 60-month lease. At 60 months, it'll just get replaced.
60, 5 years.
Mhm.
Is this an increase, a decrease, or the same as always?
It's about the same
About the
as,
same?
yeah, about the same.
How old is the current one?
Over 5 years.
Over 5 years.
Yeah. So our copiers, that's one of the things we're looking at. I think we've talked about this before. How do we, right now, we have every brand of copier and printer known to man. And so over time, what we'd like to do is consolidate that. All these copiers are smart copiers. So when the ink gets low,
It phones home.
he phones home and orders it for you, as opposed to, I'm gonna bet y'all at dinner, I'm gonna take a photo of it. I'll bet we've got $10,000 worth of ink cartridges in the basement of the tax assessor's office that we'll never use.
Right next to the boxes of carbon paper.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, if I'm wrong, I'll buy y'all dinner. But, anyway, this just replaces what's.
Well, if
there
the
for you.
lease is over, we were still just going month to month on it.
Mhm.
They didn't come and say, don't you want a new one?
Well, they did. It's pretty close. I mean, we haven't
Oh,
been,
okay.
we haven't been.
Oh, it hasn't been years.
No. Wow. So I'll make a motion that we approve the copier lease for the sheriff's office.
I'll second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, number 15, Road and Bridge. So Ruben's out today with some business with Pinnacle, and Johnny is out with the flu and was wearing a mask in the courthouse yesterday. We said, just stay home.
Go home.
Yeah, we all did get rained on Saturday.
Yeah. I'm gonna read these best I can. Looks like they did some finish work on Allen Drive, did some patching on West Fort Davis. Did some work on Cemetery Road and Mountainside Drive. There was a washout at Terlingo Ranch Road, apparently right after the rain.
Oh, yes, there was a Jeep. There was a Jeep in the road and no road.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
So they went out there and got that fixed right after the flash flood. Did some more work on that. Let's see, Benji Road. They moved some equipment to Agua Fria and they're starting to blade Agua Fria Road. They're gonna sweep Terlingo Ranch Road from top to bottom. They're cleaning up the alleyways in Marathon. There was a dump day in Terlingo, which we've talked about. And there's a dump day coming up for Marathon towards the end of this month.
Yes, 26th,
And there's a dump day for Alpine as well,
May
May
3rd.
3rd. Now, Rick, y'all have a dump day coming up, don't you? Is it this weekend?
I guess I'll call.
Okay.
So it wants to work.
All right. Any questions on road and bridge? Anything you want me to pass on?
I keep getting calls about South County, but there's only so many guys on the crew.
Specifically? Just everything or?
Mostly I've been talking to, Peter Suprenant. Do you know him?
Mm.
Yeah, they're back, pretty far back there, I think by, Leibold, by Leibold. Yeah, down Leibold Lane. So, yeah, I've told Johnny about it, but I'll tell him again. He's probably just busy with Agua Fria. That's a long, long road.
Right. Speaking of that, if you guys will come by my office, Jenny, we have
Oh, the maps.
the maps. We have maps. Now, right now it's broken down by precinct. I think I gave Mo yours. Jim, I have yours and Sarah, I have yours. We need y'all to go through your list of county roads.
Mhm.
See if you agree with them, agree with the names, the location. We have found a few roads that are county roads that have absolutely no buildings around them, particularly in your.
You don't
precinct.
say.
So, we may consider decommissioning those at some point. Once you guys go through that, then we'll produce the huge map
Mhm.
for the whole county. Each of you will get a big map for your home office.
Okay.
To look at it so that when somebody calls and says, you know, is this a county road? You can say yes or no. Just because it's county road doesn't mean we have to maintain it. Just a county road. The law that says.
But if it's not a county road, we sure as heck aren't going to maintain
But the
it.
problem is that when you say it's a county road and you say you're not gonna maintain it, that doesn't, you know, people are gonna like, what?
Yeah.
Why don't you make it a county road then, right? So we may wanna look at some of them, but overall, we've got a lot of roads to review.
Road names too, probably.
Does that, if we decommission, does that take any citizens input?
I believe there's 3 different ways you can abandon it. You can stop maintenance on it and you can actually like remove it from the road inventory. That last one is the hardest one to do. You have to have a public hearing and you have to post it in the newspaper, that sort of thing.
It's most likely gonna be cases in South County where there's somehow that road got designated as a county road. There's literally nobody along the road.
There might have been somebody on the road in the 70s.
Yeah. Nothing there.
In South County, but decommissioning it, wouldn't it affect easement access, but if you have easement on the county road, not on the private?
That's a good question. We'd have to investigate that.
I don't think we have a lot to decommission, but there may be a few. All right, number 16, emergency management.
That in a second. We did get a little bit of rain, which kind of helped us this weekend. There was a power pole, and thankfully the cold weather and the dampness on the ground did prevent anything from
Spreading.
busting. So we had that, and it definitely helped down south because we had a huge. There's a black cloud over Talingua.
Everything was on fire that
Everything
day.
was on
I don't know
fire.
why.
Yeah, so, but luckily the rain took care of that. If you look at the drought monitor, I gave everybody a copy of it. We're still dry. This was of April 1st. I haven't gotten an updated one. Probably next commissioners meeting, I'll have a more updated one with the moisture content. This has no moisture on there. But yet we're still pretty dry, so I'd like to, keep the burn ban still in effect just because of the dryness factor.
I'm going to give you a pop quiz now. I'm sorry. Do you know how many inches of rain it would take to bring us out of drought conditions?
It'd probably take at least 10 inches.
10 inches, yeah. So just because we got like 3/4 of an inch one day does not mean the drought is over.
Yeah, that doesn't take care of 10 years of drought. So,
Exactly. Okay.
I would definitely go about probably an inch a year. Just because it needs to seep into the ground and get back into everything and filter through the soil.
Yeah, I thought with the rain and the snow, I could pull some weeds and they're just rooted in there. There's
Yeah.
this much soft on the top
Yeah.
and it's concrete underneath it.
Well, the cool thing is, we got the rain, so the things started growing again and then it froze and they all died. So
It becomes fuel.
yeah, it just becomes more fuel.
Thank you.
Yay, Mother Nature.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, I have some tumbleweeds if anybody needs some.
No, I'm good. I don't need any Russian
And
thistle.
goat heads, I've got goat heads and tumbleweeds for sale.
Maybe some tourists will take you up on that, not me.
Any other questions?
All right, I'd entertain a motion to extend the burn ban until May
May 30th.
30th.
I move to approve the burn ban until May 30th.
All right, motion to extend the burn ban, second?
I'll second.
Second, motion is second. Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, burn bans extended till May 30th. Nothing else, James? Any news? You want to tell everybody about your new hot shot? Fire rig?
So for anybody that came down and anybody that would like to come down to the fire station and see our brand new fire truck, we did get a brand new ARF truck. Oh, well, not brand new. It's
New to us.
about 30 years old, but it's new for us. It's new for us. Myself and Mr. Stevens went down there and checked it out. We both, we agreed it was a good looking truck. The US Navy used to own it and they would test foam, different types of foam. And after every use of foam, they would replace all the pipes in the tanks so you wouldn't mix foam mixtures and get negative results. So the last time they used it, they replaced the tank, they replaced all the pipes, and it's basically a brand new truck. It's got brand new tires. It's got a good running Detroit diesel engine, which is probably the last good running engine that the military ever had. Probably because, they can make more money if they get, the crappy Cummins engines now, but that's, but the engines runs great. It's a 3-seater. It's a 1,500 gallon tank with a 200 additional for foam, and she's running great. There's a few more parts we need to get for it to make her fully operational. But right now we've called her Lucy is the name of our truck, and she's running pretty good right now.
The water cannon that's on the top, is it remote controlled? Is it operator controlled?
It's operator controlled. And then that's one of the parts that I need to get functional. I have to get a standpipe to go up and over.
So because this truck used to be used for foam, does that mean, I remember when we had the water outage down south, there was questions, could you move drinking water in the fire tank,
No.
tanker truck? Because yeah, so this one would not be eligible to move any kind of drinking water
Not
ever.
at all.
Okay.
Oh,
I didn't think so, but I just wanted to say it for the record.
Even though the tanks and the pipes are new, I still wouldn't try it.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah, those days are over.
yeah, it's a water truck.
We're never gonna have another outage down there.
Yeah. And anybody that wants to come down and check the truck out, you're more than welcome. We're proud of her, and we'll show her to anybody that wants to.
What will it be used for? I mean, we went out when you did the pushing in ceremony and the thing's huge. I mean, is it gonna take her place or be used as a brush truck too? I mean, it'll roll over anything.
It is 4x4. You see the size and you're like, that's a 4x4. Yes, this is a 4x4. It can withstand, I think, 4 feet of water. You can drive through 4 feet of water without it bogging out. And we're going to use it for just about anything that we can. It has a sprinkler system underneath it. So if you want to drive over the fire and put it out, you can. There's a deck gun. One of the parts that I'm looking at getting is going to be another front end. It's a bumper gun, and we're going to get one of those put on along with reactivating the top. Plus we have 2 lines out the side and another line that's out the front. So there's plenty of lines for this thing, and we're trying not to use the top gun because the top gun shoots 1,500 gallons a minute, which is the entire tank.
Oh.
So we might want to not use that right off the bat unless we hook up to a fire hydrant. But it's definitely very.
I mean, it's designed for aircraft fires, right?
Right.
That's what it really was made for, to sit in the cab and spray water and foam on an aircraft fire, particularly Jet A fuel. And we would use it for that. I don't know what the response time from the station to the airport would be, but I mean, she doesn't move real fast.
Oh, she moves pretty
Does
fast.
she really?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
surprising. I didn't think she'd move very fast.
Oh, no, she's quick. Cause she can, there's a big sticker on there that says, don't exceed 55 miles an hour, which I exceeded pretty quick. Cause I didn't think it was gonna go that fast. And I hit the gas and it took off. So that engine,
Good. That's good to hear.
that engine definitely works. Not,
Is the engine 30 years old as well?
yeah, but very well maintained.
Good.
Very
No
well.
death. Good.
Yeah, no death.
Well, you said there was only 1,900 miles on it?
Yeah.
In that 30-year lifespan?
There's 10,000 miles and 1,900 hours on it.
Oh, 1,900, okay. But still, that's,
Yeah.
And here's the catch, it's free.
That was another.
So,
yeah,
you know.
don't look at gift horse.
Yeah, the trucks were,
Delivered for free.
yeah, this truck was worth $750,000. And we were able to get it with a grant. So grant, gotta love grants.
Hopefully we'll never use it. We do, we got something.
Don't tell my guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they're ready to use it. I guess we could use it to sweep the streets, you know, spray water on the streets or something.
We'll take to the elementary school, and shoot the kids.
Oh, the kids would love it. Riot control.
1,500 gallons to a 10-year-old.
All right, number 17, treasurer's office.
I
Anything?
don't have anything for you all today.
Okay. All right, number 18, Brewster County Comptroller's office.
Well, actually, I think this is the first time I've come in and said this. We did not have any budget amendments
Okay.
today.
Very good.
Transfers.
Okay.
Shock.
All right, but we do have some bills.
We have bills.
All right.
We've got, you should have two things. You've got the accounts payable register, and appointments by fund for today. And then also what was paid on the 2nd. The only, really large amount that I'd like to bring y'all's attention is the payment of 46,000 on today's listing that is to the city of Alpine. That is for the Southlanders recycling participation. That's on a contract that was last signed in 22. It renews every year at a 5% increase per year. Does anybody have any questions on any of the?
Melinda, what is Fund 933?
933 is one of the grant funds, and talk to Lane.
It's not for, it's a grant fund though.
It's a grant fund, I can't remember.
And 027 is as well.
I'm sorry,
027 is also a grant fund.
027 is abandoned.
Oh, abandoned vehicle, that's
the
right.
sheriff's
Yes, okay,
abandoned vehicle.
okay.
What is 933?
Operation Lone Star.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Thank you.
So sheriff used abandoned vehicle money for, looks like some radio equipment, 5,111.40. American, okay. Is that, do you know what that was? What kind of radio equipment? By chance?
It may have been for Ryan's new truck, maybe. Not sure though.
Okay.
It's just a guess.
No big deal, I'll find out. All right, we paid off for the court, we paid off GRP for the 21 audit. 21 audits in the bag, it's done. 22 will be wrapped up shortly. And we're already moving into 23. So
Is
we're
that
fine.
gonna cost us more than 21? Or is it all just kind of wrapped together?
Every year is right now, every year is a $90,000 bill. So this is what's left of, we did not pay GRP and Solar, we were not gonna pay them until we got the audit. So this is what's left of their original 90. So they're paid off now, GRP's out of the way. Singleton has been paid for 22 and we've already approved 23. So, and then we'll be back in here probably in the new year for 24. Yeah.
24 will actually be in the next fiscal year. It'll
Yes,
be in the budget for the next year.
and then we'll be back on track.
I hope.
Hope so.
God willing. I move to approve bills as presented.
Walk out.
Are you on here? Yeah, just leave. Motion and a second to approve the bills as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. All right, any opposed? Okay, very good. And you can get Jim back in there.
I moved, Morrow seconded, and it was unanimous.
All right,
Westerman,
Melinda, you want to talk about your conversion real quick?
Yeah, the, one of the things that you should have in your packet is, sort of a conversion deadline, for the last part of this month. This is gonna get done in stages. So the first thing that happens is the end of this month, we will be converting the general ledger package. So sort of the overall umbrella piece of the accounting system. And then as we go forward over the next couple of months, we'll be converting the cash receipting system for processing payments that come in. And then also the payroll and personnel management, human resources, that sort of thing. The critical thing that we have going on this month is that on April the 23rd, we have to do a data extraction from net data. And so the next couple of weeks, we've got a lot of work getting that ready to go. And unfortunately, the way it has to work, that is a payroll week. So we have to have payroll completely finished by Wednesday at noon on the 23rd, and then they'll do the data extraction that afternoon. Because once they do that data extraction, we cannot do anything else in the system. For payroll, that also is going to include any purchasing, any payment of invoices, anything that has to do with the payable system. So the other date that we really need to pay attention to is that we pay bills on Tuesday, April 22nd, which is the day before the data extraction. So any invoices that need to be paid before, I'm going to say before May 15th, to give us some cushion to get into the new system and get everything up and running. Everything that needs to be paid before the May 15th date needs to be into Pati by April the 16th. That's the Wednesday before we pay the bills on the 22nd. And I understand that that is possibly inconvenient, and we may have, a little bit of an issue if somebody comes in with something last minute. We're going to do our best to get everything we possibly can paid by the 22nd, get it all squared away, and then get the new system up and running as quickly as we can. But I know the week of the 23rd is the configuration week, that 21st through that Friday. And the following week is going to be what they call the go live week, which means they're going to be taking that converted data in Tyler, and we are basically going to be testing it in that new system. So we're really not going to be able to go back in and do anything in that data. So I'd like for everybody to keep that in mind, when you're submitting an invoice for payment, or even something as simple as submitting a PO. If it's a PO, I think what we can do is have sort of a manual system on the side that will keep track of what has been approved, and then we'll enter those POs into the Tyler system after. So POs, yes, we've got to work around. But as far as getting any kind of checks cut, invoices input, that is simply going to have to wait until we get into the new system.
What about recurring payments, utility bills and things like that? How do you?
I think that's going to be the same thing. If we've got a payment that we know is going to be due in that first 2 weeks of May, then we need to try to go ahead and get that paid early if we possibly can. I am really going to shoot for being able to do something earlier than that date in May, but it's not a guarantee. And I just want to make sure we've got enough cushion that if God forbid we hit a glitch at some point, we've got a little bit of room in there.
All right, so the takeaway for the elected officials and department heads is there's going to be a period where it's going to be rough. Just part of it as we convert. So I'm going to say you have to deal directly with Melinda on all of this. So she's not going to be fun to be around for those 2 weeks. So bless you as you go about your journey with her.
Do all the department heads know?
We have sent out
We sent out memos.
notice.
And
we'll
we sent out
telling them.
memo on the no, we've sent out notification on the payroll side of it. And today, when I go back to my office, we'll be sending out an email on the payable side of it.
Here first. We send out memo. We ought to just send it every week.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes, they
Every week.
need more than
Please
one
remember, please remember,
notice.
please remember.
And the good news is that this new system is going to be rock solid compared to what we've got now. So everybody's excited about it. It's just part of the conversion. So Robert, just be thinking about what you've got, because you're You're probably the big bill generator.
Yes, sir.
So if some things may just get.
He tends to have a lot of paperwork coming through. So. Which I need to talk to you about before we get out of here.
All right, anything else, Melinda?
I think that is it, for today, yeah. Nothing else.
Very good. Our finance meetings are always every Wednesdays at 9:30. Anybody's welcome to join us. It's quite fun. You need a little snooze and nap time, just come on over. We'll be happy to have you. Okay, number 19, Brewster County Tourism.
Morning, everybody. We're still just rocking and rolling, wrapping up the spring show season. At the end of this month, it'll be the Travel Expo over in Waco, where we talk to the tech stuff folks, all the tech centers throughout the state. When you enter the state, that they welcome folks to give them all the new info. The focus, of course, will be giving them the most detail we can on the basin closure and all that good stuff. So I'll talk with the Park Service again and get some info from them. And we're also going to distribute that QR code that they've created. I'm sure most of you have seen it. They have a QR code that takes you right to the page that during the construction process will update. They're saying fairly regularly, at least weekly, if not daily, depending on what's happening. So we're going to give that to all the TIC centers so they have it in the TIC centers and they can just display it. If anybody's saying, I heard it's closed, they boom right to the little QR code and the public will be able to see what exactly is going on. So that'll be a nice one. That'll be at the end of this month. Right now, there's a video shoot going on in the park. This weekend, the San Angelo Rodeo takes place. We've got a crew going down there. And also going on, so that's most of our show stuff. Our website is under construction. Thank you, Judge, for all that good stuff. He's already backed up the back end and is beginning to make the staging site. So that's coming up. He's going a lot faster than I had assumed. So it's looking like I'm thinking by June, we may actually have something to look at and to show you guys. So I certainly hope so. Besides the website, at the moment, we're getting ready for another show that's coming up in June. The big IPW show will be in Chicago. So we're already this week having meetings with Visit El Paso to decide what journalists we're going to talk to, people, etc. So we're getting ready for that big one in June. Again, that'll be in Chicago that Aaron and myself will be going to. Other than that, we're still just moving right along. Not much else of real, information other than that website. Two other dates that I'd like to give you guys though. Again, May 7th is the board meeting. Just a reminder, it'll be in Lajitas with the board. We'll approve those changes to the bylaws of the Tourism Council. And then on Earth Day, we have confirmed it, April 22nd. Over in Marathon, we'll be showing it's a 52-minute mini documentary that we helped with many years ago called The Stars at Night. The Big Bend is the focus, but it also shows other dark sky areas throughout here, other national parks. I believe they did one in Arizona, New Mexico, and us. But it's just a little documentary. We'll do it at the Sky Park in Marathon that evening. I'll send out a notice and all that good stuff. We'll have it in the paper next week so folks know, and we'll put it up on the Marathon and also the Terlingua Chambers social media, and just to see how many folks go. If we have a couple, that'll be fine. If we have 30 or 40, that'd be fantastic. And we've actually bought out the Sky Park, so anyone after they watch this documentary can go over and have a little star party that they do there on the Tourism Council. It's just a little fun event. We'll probably have like popcorn and Coke or something like that, but it'll be fun. We'll put a big screen up there, blow up screen, and use our projector at the office to show the film. So we'll have some more details on that, but that's basically what we're working on right now.
When is your carport going to start?
I don't know. I was going to try and track down Johnny today and find out. Yes, sir. I'm not sure. Yeah. I haven't heard anything else. There was an issue with the building permit. They had the wrong address, so we corrected that with the city. They actually had our neighbor at the bike shop as the deal, so we changed that. So that may have delayed it a bit, but she sent me the corrected permit, I think Thursday or Friday last week. So hopefully soon.
Okay, they've asked for a progress payment, and we don't make progress payments unless we see progress.
Right. Nothing's been done so far.
So,
Yeah.
I'm happy to pay for the steel, but I need to see the steel on the ground.
On
Sir,
site.
absolutely. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay. All
Sure
right.
thing.
And then you've got a contract for Texas Highways here?
Yes, sir. That one right there, that's the only print that we had put out that said the May closure. So I tried to get the next issue possible to put, it's not May. So it's kind of a corrective ad, but it's just an ad in Texas Highways for that.
Okay. We'll need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
All right, motion for Texas.
I'll second.
Highways. All right, motion is second, discussion. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Texas Highways has completely revamped their magazine. Have you noticed that?
Yes, sir. Yeah, actually, the rep was down last week, so I got
It's
some,
actually,
yeah.
I think, a better magazine than it used to be. I mean, some
I
ways.
agree. I'm gonna ask the marketing committee. We haven't met yet, for an update on that. We have
You mean
not
the
met
budget
yet, but I
committee.
wanna do more with him. Yeah.
You're rebranding the marketing committee as the budget committee, right?
Yep. As soon as we get that meeting, we'll change the name. Till now, it's the marketing committee. Yeah.
All right, anything else from tourism?
No, sir.
Okay, Robert, would you, before you leave the building, holler at me. I got one thing I want to talk to you about.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, next meeting is going to be a special Commissioners Court meeting. It's going to be in Marathon, Texas on April the 22nd at 9:30 at the Community Center in Marathon.
I move to adjourn.
Oh, motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This court is now adjourned. Okay.
10:43.